Hello, everyone, and today we are going to talk about the significance of the Dodecahedron, right? But before we talk about the Dodecahedron, right, we want to first talk about the pentagon because the pentagon is one of the most crucial symbols in the universe and the cosmos and science and everything, really, because of how important it is, and it's dynamic in almost everything in life, right? It's seen in almost everything, right? So many things, from the everything being in fives, the phi logo, the pi logo being dividable up to the fives, right? The five elements. If we even look at the Kabbalah and the way the shaping is, right? So the pentagram is connected to the Metatron's cube and symbolizes actually Archangel Michael and Archangel Metatron's force, upholding order within God's creation and matrix of the universe. It stands for the four elements and the fifth element, which is spirit soul, which the fifth element is ether, right? We'll get into ether a little later as well. But for the most part, the pentagram, we'll look into the shape of the pentagram because this is essence of of the shaping in essence, right? When we look at the dodecahedron in essence, the whole shaping around it is the pentagram that holds forth. And what this symbolizes is God is the creator of the earth, and then there's a duality aspect to it as well. Okay, I'll get into this aspect a little later. So a pentagon is any five-sided polygon or fivegon. The sum of eternal angles is a simple pentagon is 540, right? And these angles equal to 9. There's a special divinity behind the number 9. So pentagon pointing up symbolizes the aspiration to the sublime, the ascension to the divine. It is full of spiritual force. It is complex, dynamic. The pentagon is related geometrically and symbolically to the five pointing star. Uniting all pentagon points results a star which is a powerful symbol of magic, perhaps the oldest and most powerful of magic symbols. Guys, we know how powerful the hexagon is, right? The pentagon is extremely powerful because it represents all of the elements, all the five crucial elements, right? And because it has a horizontal line at the base, the pentagon basically means the stability, thereby enriching the range of meanings. The pentagon is the golden geometric figure as magically contains the golden ratio. Thus, the intersection of the diagonals of the pentagon generates golden proportion. So what in essence does this all tie into? So when we talk about the golden ratio, we are talking about the ratio that equates to what is gravity, right? Now, when we look at the pi logo later and we see why gravity finally equates the same number pattern, because the pattern always goes back to a dodecahedron shape, right? All these numbers in the cosmos are already imprinted because they are harmonically intertwined, right? Pythagoras knew this prior. All the scientists after just knew how to formulate everything together. But the dodecahedron is primarily seen in so many different aspects. The Fibonacci sequence ties into all of this as well, right? But as we look at these pictures on the right, we see a lot of different ways where if we look at that one specific triangle with the Fibonacci line circling going around it, this is a good way for us to understand Fibonacci sequencing. That also shows us how these multiply, right? And how the ratio permeates the pentagon. And it all shows us the fielding of symmetry. It shows us how it's formulating, right? So let's just look at what a dodecahedron is, right? In essence, right, it's 12 interlocking pentagons. So 540 degrees times 12 is 680 degrees, 6,480 degrees. So if you add up all those numbers, once again, the 18 and the 1, it will give you back to the divinity of the 9. So we all know that all these triangles and numbers can add back to either 3, 6, 9. If we look into the 369, it's basically encoded in all of this because it in essence is part of the hexagram that we'll see later. Also, 6,480 divided by 432 equals 15. And in essence, if 1 plus 5 equals 6, and remarkably, 640 divided by 9.6 is 675. 675 equals 18.1. Once again, guys, 9 comes again. So there's numerology in almost every essence of life, whether it be in elements, your name, numerology, astrology. There's numbers and patterns and geometrical patterns in almost every essence of life, right? It's a part of every essence of life, right? But as you can see, this brings us back to the divinity of the nine. So the dodecahedron is one of the Platonic solids, symmetrical solids whose edges fit within a sphere. It has 12 sides and is encoded in Metron's cube. The shape of the universe is the dodecahedron, right? The dodecahedron, which symbolizes the universe and how the element in Zen energy and space-time and space substance that builds the matrices, right? So think of the universe as a dodecahedron, a bunch of triangles pyramiding together, and then the universe is the pentagrams around it, right? This is the essence that we were talking about earlier about the dodecahedron being the archangel, right? So the Zen energy and space-time ties into the aspect of ether, right? Historically, it's been symbolized the concept of the fifth ether or universe. It represents the perfect meditation of the infinite and the finite, right? The sphere and the cube, the analogous to the circle and the square. It's reciprocal and the icosahedron. Whereas the icosahedron has 20 faces and 20 verticals, the dodecahedron has 12 faces and 20 verticals, right? Each shape can be easily transformed into the other by truncation or stellation, right? So when these two are stellating, right, this is the aspect we were talking about, this interlocking of the pyramids with the pentagrams, right? These triangles and pentagrams are the essence of life. This is DNA. This is the faces on sunflower seeds. This is Fibonacci on every single realm, right? This is the ideology. This is the shaping of everything in life. The truncation and the stellation is all within the dodecahedron, right? So if we look here, we could see the shapings, right? All these shapings are within the cosmos, right? Whether it be DNA circlings, solar system planetings, the atoms, this is all within, right? And the dodecahedron is associated with visual harmonic division and proportion with the music and sound. This goes back to even when Kepler was talking about it, or even Pythagoras, right? The music is intertwined with the numbers, right? The 432 divided by 9.6 will always root back to the number nines, right? This is why divinity within the astrology and geometry is super important, right? So Kepler tried to associate the polyhedra with the relative orbits of the planets known at the time. Planet Earth was related to the dodecahedron, and in turn to correlate these to rather sweeping musical frequencies, the sound of which create a harmony into which we are born, always hearing, indeed a part of it. Likewise, many have believed that the soul or spirit, essence of the material body, exuded a harmony much like the notion of a visual aura, and this harmony resulted from the harmonic vibrations of energy patterns holding the molecules, the materials in place to manifest in the form of structure. Okay, so this in essence explains how ether and 4D and 5D move in dimensions, right? It is giving what is giving the matter its affinity in space. It's giving what it's giving its shape in the time and space, right? Music is essential, right? There is always hertz giving off, whether it be from a solid object, it's going to be giving off energy. It's going to be giving off hertz. Us as humans is giving off energy. It's hertz. This is all atoms and matter and time and space. This is all the now, right? So when we look into quantum physics and how sacred the geometry is, how it ties into the Metatron's cube, the fruit of life, the flower of life, and how all the dodecahedrons and all these shapes intertwine and all these numbers are intertwined, it really just it's amazing how all these numbers are just, it just shows you that the cosmos are in one and it's divine and in oneness, right? It's all in one. So quantum physics and many Eastern mystical religions hold apparently similar views about the existence of energy fields which harness molecules, matter, by vibrating them, bestowing manifest shape, all sharing one common source. To observe things in this way can inspire reverence for all of reality, as the totality of the universe may appear to be a collection of dormant molecules woven together like a vast matrix, shaken and vibrated by energy fields which give them cohesion and consistency, namely a mass, a medium for energy to travel by like a wave upon the ocean, illuminated in time-space by light. The unity of all things become revealed. So this in essence is what energy and time-space is, right? So we also have to think about when we talk about the Eastern religions and why they say that the chakras and within chi or in Kundalini yoga, these energies could be dormant molecules that we have, right? But if we waken them, these energies will start shaking and vibrating, right? And if we raise our vibrations and our energies, a lot of different things will change within your field of your lifetime, because you awoken so much more chakras, right? But this is a good example of the symbols that are within sacred geometry. Now we're going to get into pi, 5, right? Literally phi and pi is the most crucial thing, right? This is one of the essential things in life. We see this in the tree of life. We see this in the Kabbalah. We see this in the Kundalini. We see this in every aspect, whether it be space with the ether, earth, water, fire. All these aspects are intertwined within the 5, right? So the 5 of the Fibonacci sequence. We are all fractal beings of nature. The essence of 5 creates 5. The Fibonacci sequence, right? The Fibonacci sequence. Phi is within that, right? The golden mean, the divine proportion, 1.618. This is the fractal understanding that there is a law of gravity, right? This means that it is always rotating. There is a proportional way that things are moving. There is a energetic field within the cosmos. So to say that there is no energy constantly vibrating is not true, because the golden ratio explains it perfectly, right? So ubiquitous to our existence, this ratio is the seed of life and the key to understanding how nature operates, right? The Fibonacci sequence and the golden number pi and phi are closely related to the number 5. The flower of every edible fruit has 5 petals. Man has a microcosmic vessel of the most complex order and the most ingenious design, and has been cast into ever-moving, drifting, shifting tidal seas of this universe, right? So, in essence, right, the Fibonacci sequence is basically every aspect of human life, right? I want you to really think about the Fibonacci sequence and the Dodecahedron in essence. When I wrap my hand around like this going around 9 motion, this in essence is what life is, right? It's this constant loop, right? Now, whether you think you're at this point, you might come back here and experience something different. You might come back to this part of life and experience something different. But at the end of the day, this Fibonacci sequence, it is all intertwined, right? And that entails your life in essence. This whole Fibonacci sequence will be a lesson of things you learned from the past, things you are learning now, things you are, in essence, time and possibility are what the 4th and 5th dimension are. The 5th dimension is planes of information and time moving, but it's a possibility, it's a probability and time. At the same time, 5D is coming to what 3D is, what the now is, right? So it is essential to understand how these sequences and how pi are intertwined in every aspect of life, right? So The etheric center, which keeps alive the physical vehicle, is said to correspond with an astral center of 4 dimensions, but between them is closely woven sheet or web compressed of a single compressed layer of physical atoms, which prevents a premature opening of communication between the planes, right? So, ether, time and space, right? Fire, water, earth, air, these are all intertwined, but there is also an ether. There has a time and space portion to this as well, right? One plank at a time, one plank frame at a time. It has a constructive interference, right? So how you're acting and you're affecting and how your mood is now affects the fifth dimension, right? The possibility of what is to come, right? So it is essential to be peaceful and blissful in the now, right? That is why chi and Zen energy is so crucial within this, learning the Fibonacci sequence as well. And to just finalize, let's just look at the pentagram real quick and how the essence is, right? When we look at these pentagrams within the triangles and how these helix formulate, right? It shows, we even see the constellation of the zodiacs, right? This is within everything. The 12s is within it as well. As a shape capable of producing the perfect fractal, the stellated dodecahedron, right? When something is stellating, right, it could show you how the dodecahedron and the icosahedron, when they intertwine together, this is what's giving the shape of a fractal. And when the shape of the fractal is happening, that's giving what in essence is gravity. It also gives so many different harmonics within life. Whether we push it down to the 432 harmonics, we could look through all these harmonics and it will be within these things, right? So, the dodecahedron can cause charges to scale, materialize and implode, while electric field theory has been to produce a model of a fractal electric field. The stellated dodecahedron stands its perfect 3D realization, right? Winter was one of the first scientists to attribute the cause of gravity to the fractal nature of the universe. According to Winter's research, it is the stellated dodecahedron, the perfect charge collapses geometry, based on the golden mean that creates gravity, right? So the dodecahedron in essence is the finalized shape that symbolizes life. It symbolizes geometry at a peak. It symbolizes gravitational force. And if that portions are intertwined, it shows you how spirituality and the sciences are intertwined as well, and how your cosmos and your own world can be affected by your perspective and your worldview, and how you do things will affect your cosmos and your reality in essence. Thank you guys for watching, and we will get into more stuff within the dodecahedron later as well.